This is John Jenkins here, and I didn't want to do this at first, but I decided I had to make a video about the Ray Rice incident. For those of you who don't know, um, Ray Rice is an NFL player in the National Football League, and about half a year ago, he had an incident. There was an incident which was caught on tape. Initially, they had a tape showing him dragging his wife off of an elevator. And they came out publicly and said it was a domestic violence incident. And the NFL did everything in their power to sweep it under the rug, make it seem like it wasn't that big of a deal. But more recently, it surfaced that the full video came out showing him actually beating his wife, and he actually knocked her out. And it also surfaced that the NFL knew that the full video was out, but they tried to cover it up. So now, if this snowballs anymore, Goodell himself could lose his job. Roger Goodell of the NFL. And first of all, I should do full disclosure. My hands are not clean when it comes to the subject of domestic violence. I have fought women in the past, and in my defense, I thought I was just defending myself. In my defense, I wasn't hitting her just to hit her, or just to see how quickly I can knock her out or whatever. In my defense, I was acting because I thought that basically my life was in danger, and I reacted in self-defense, what I thought was self-defense, and I paid the consequences for that. I didn't try to hide it. I didn't try to get out of my punishment. I took my punishment, and I was happier for it that I did what I thought was right. And even though I was punished for it, I was content that I was still in the right. But now we get to the Ray Rice incident, and I never watched the video. I couldn't watch the video because, seeing women get beat up by men is something that I can't watch. It's something that it's just, one of those things that's just too cruel for me to watch. And I couldn't even watch the interview that he did with his now wife. I couldn't even watch that interview because, it just pains me, that the way that people think, she's thinking, well, I used to be young. When I met Ray Rice, I was young. I was at my peak. But now I'm getting older, and I'm not as pretty as I used to be, and it seems like he's just getting richer and richer in the NFL. So really, I just got to hang on to him no matter what, and hopefully he doesn't drop me for a groupie or a cheerleader or whatever. And it's hard to deal with that with that type of mentality, because that sort of crosses into my life, the way that I think sometimes, that I'm not a young bright college student anymore with the promise of having a bachelor's degree and making 5 figures a year, making someday $50,000 a year. You know, I I I I don't have the promise of youth and all the opportunity that I used to have. So and 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 everyone around everywhere I look, people were driving cars, renting apartments, buying houses, going on vacations, getting married, having children, and people are producing things, going into business, and maybe it would get me to thinking that I've got to just hang on to whatever I've got, and I can't look to a brighter future. I just got to hang on and for dear life for whatever little that I thought I had. So it's depressing to see people who think like that because I don't want to think like that, and it really affects me. So now to my conclusion. Well, here's the deal. From what I heard of the video, some people say that she hit him first. Some people say that she didn't hit him first. Some people say that he spit on her and that's what started the fight. It. But from the way this whole thing came about, it seemed like he was so brazen about it. He was willing to do it. You know, right out in the open. What if what if a police officer or a security guard had been in that hotel? I mean, naturally they would be there for security reasons, just in case, for example, a rapist or a burglar or a robber had broken into the hotel and decided to target uh, weak female tenants, weak female guests with violence in order to rob them or to rape them. I mean, the type of thing that Ray Rice did is a reason why they have security guards at hotels. And the way that he did it was so brazen, and it just seemed like this is something that this man has gotten away with many times. This is probably routine in a relationship. He sweet talked her to get her into bed the first time, and then after that he felt, oh, I can just do whatever, and she's not gonna leave me. She knows I'm going to the league or whatever. I don't know if they met in high school or not. I'm just guessing. But from the brazen way that this was done, I don't think it was self defense. In any case, if a woman hits me, it's annoying, but she's so weak and I'm so much stronger than her that it's like, you know, I mean, um, I mean, I'm not gonna claim ignorance. I've actually seen the video of a man getting knocked out by a woman. So I know that some women can produce a strong punch, but for the majority of women, that's just not the case. She might knock a hair out of place, but she's not going to damage anything. So, if I were in that situation, I never would have just, and to punch her the first time and then to wind up and do it again, like you didn't send your point across the first time. It's insanity. You know. Um, I as I mentioned before, I'm not innocent. I'm certainly biased, but at the same time, I cannot condone this type of behavior, and it stands the test of time. I mean, every once in a while, you hear somebody argue that, oh, if a woman if a woman decides she's gonna put her hands on a man, and all the kid gloves come off, all bets are off. You can, you know, it's a it's a free, it's a it's a it's no holds barred basically. But that argument doesn't stand the test of time. I mean, over the centuries and the millennia, we have always known that women are weaker than men, and no matter how much women claim to the contrary, they're not equal to us. They're much weaker than we are, and the test is, what is it something? Is it a policy that will be true forever? And as time goes on, and situation after situation, we see that women are weaker than men. The only thing we can say is that we're not going to take advantage of that weakness for our own personal goals. We're not going to try to exploit that weakness. We're going to say we're not going to hit you because we know, and we've known all throughout history, that you are weaker than us. And that mentality, that resolve, is what's going to last forever. This temporary fad of, oh, you know, whatever goes around comes around. That doesn't last. That's temporal. What truly lasts forever is to acknowledge the truth and face the truth, and use whatever is true to guide your actions, to guide your life. What what punishment do I think Ray Rice deserved? Well, I know a little bit about sports history. There have been many situations in history where people who didn't have the best personal lives were given a pass because they were athletes. I understand that that's a thing. That's something that happens a lot, and you know in the past I really disagreed with it because I was jealous of these athletes that they could, number one, get a beautiful woman, and number two, have enough money to keep that beautiful woman even after knocking her out. Like, I mean, I wasn't, I was jealous. I wasn't getting, beautiful women on my best behavior. I couldn't, get one to talk to me. So I was reacting out of jealousy that, oh, this guy is getting all this, and you know he's just he's just squatting on hot cotton basically. So that was where I was coming from back then. But as I matured, and I got my jealousy under control, my envy under control, then I started to sympathize more with the men in these situations. And you know one of the famous one of the most famous black athletes in history, Jack Johnson, the pugilist, he had issues with women, particularly white prostitutes, and that was swept under the rug so that he could continue to be who he was. Um, but now I just say, well, you know, let's look at the greater context of what's going on at that time period. Donald Sterling, you know, said that he didn't want his wife inviting Magic Johnson or any black people to Clippers games. I don't understand, you know, why Magic Johnson would need anybody's permission to go to a Clippers game. I mean, he's considered by many to be the greatest NBA player of all time. I mean, he could just walk up to the front gate, they'd let him in probably. Um, but, you know, so Donald Sterling was banned from the NBA for life. And he never, you know, put a noose around a black man's neck and hung him from a tree. He didn't tie any black boys to the back of his truck and then drive away and drag them to death. He didn't, you know, participate in the lynch mob or beating up black college students or you know going after the freedom riders. He didn't go to the diner where the freedom riders are at and start you know pound caking people. You know, he just said something in a private conversation that you know, was certainly protected under the First Amendment, and he was banned from the NBA for life. And he had to sell his team. Somebody else bought it, and somebody who used to work at Microsoft used to be a manager at Microsoft, and so that's what happened just this year. So here you have Ray Rice, who's been getting away, probably getting away with beating up his wife for years, probably knocked her out multiple times. She's probably lost a lot of brain cells, and uh, he could have killed her. I mean, he could have killed her with the first punch, and that's the other reason why you know the let him eat cake philosophy of domestic violence. If she hits him, she deserves it. That philosophy doesn't last because if she hits you, it's gonna you know knock some spit out of your mouth. But you hit her one time, you can kill her. You know, and you know he could have killed her with it with 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 the first punch, and then he wound up again and went for another punch, and he's been getting away with it. And something had to be done to show this man, if not the rest of the NFL, that you're not going to get away with stuff forever. You know, when you're a football phenom in high school, the administrators, the principal, the coaches, they turn the other way when you start doing deviant things. But um, that doesn't last forever because eventually it's just going to be you and the public. And when public opinion is against you, if enough people say, I don't like the NBA or the NFL anymore, I'm just not going to watch, I'm not going to go any more games, then all those former millionaires are going to be in the welfare line. And you know, so when it's you and the entire American populace at odds over which one is right, well, the customer is always right. Know your customer. And you know, in the context of what happened with Donald Sterling what happened with Ray Rice was pretty lenient. I mean, he didn't have to do jail time. He didn't have to. He's not a felon. He might be. I can't imagine any skill that he would have outside of football. I can't imagine that he was a scholar in college. He probably skipped out on a whole lot of learning. So I can't imagine any other career that he could get. And his career in the NFL wasn't long enough for him to become a celebrity analyst like Strahan was for a while. And like other NBA players, Charles Barkley, for example, or even yes, Magic Johnson. He was an analyst for a while. So I yeah, even though I don't think that he had many other options but to play in the NFL, at the same time, compared to what Don Sterling got, he got off easy, hands down. He got off easy. So let me know what you think, whether you agree or disagree. Like I said, I didn't want to make a video about the Ray Rice incident, but it was something that was really uh, tugging at me, and I wanted to say something. So I have a nice day.